Beauty is so boring. I don't want to do it.
We had some wires, but I actually had to. They didn't do much because I had to look like I was actually swinging the thing. So people were pulling on the chandelier, and I had to make it look like I was swinging that much, you know? So it was really like an intense ab core workout while doing dialogue.
Chandeliering, it's going to be a new thing. Equinox.
Totally.
No, I don't think, pretty much all the ideas ended up in the film. What happened, though, was these actors sort of came on board and made it transcend. You know, the movie starts very much with sort of film noir archetypes. You have the detective, you have the junkie, you have the grifter, you have the lounge singer, and yet I didn't want this to become a movie about archetypes. I wanted it to become a movie about people. And so when Jon and Cailee and Jeff and Cynthia and Dakota, Chris sort of came into this, and Lewis, they all just sort of made these people human. And so much of the movie is about finding empathy for people that you dismiss at first glance as one thing or another, and letting that sort of reveal itself. And so it was really fun to see these extraordinary actors transcend the material.
There's a link to a kind of Tarantino feel for me only because you cared about the music so much, obviously. And when Cynthia Erivo smacks Jeff Bridges, aka The Bridge, in the head with a bottle, I literally was like, shit! And then it's like, Bernadette! I was like, wow, God. So did you have that clear of a vision going into the movie, like as far as how you wanted the music to play into it?
Yeah, I actually started with the music before I started with the plot. I knew that in many ways the movie's about music, right? It's about the act of making music in turbulent times and why the artist is important when you're dealing with such political turmoil. And so I knew that we should just start there, and selfishly I just love the music. So Bernadette definitely jumped out early as one of the key songs for the movie because it really embodies so much of what I was trying to do.
We were talking earlier about how great it is that she just gets to just sing a whole song while Jon's character is figuring out what in the hell is going on. I loved that, and I loved the sound design and how kind of abrupt it was in both turning on the speakers and turning them off. So, Jon, can you tell me what was going on set? So I'm assuming that because this was a set, it was built that way. So what was the sound like for you?
It was all live. I mean, that's all takes place in one shot. I mean, that's a 7-minute long tracking shot, something crazy. So it was tightly choreographed, not just among the actors that you see, where Jeff's going through his sort of little vignette, and then Cynthia has hers, and then Dakota and Cailee come in at the end, and then I'm delivering all this information as well, finding the camera, finding that there's no film in it, sort of showing the audience that this space exists. The audience ends up seeing certain things that my character doesn't see, including Dakota carrying a shotgun. So
if you had just waited
1 second,
2 more
I was
seconds,
like, God, I could have figured.
It would have been a very different movie.
Womp womp.
I pitched it. I was like, can I just wait here until she goes to get the gun? No. All right. So it was all, very tightly cool. We had to rehearse it for, 6 hours on the weekend to get it right. And they had been building it, the camera crew and the grip department and everybody, including people that are running like 4x4 black velvet flags to keep reflections out of the, all this crazy stuff had to move, and it all had to move kind of in concert.
And it had to move silently because Cynthia was singing.
And Cynthia's singing live,
yeah.
And so the actual flipping of the switch to make the sound come out in the audience, that wasn't real because Cynthia was singing and she can project literally on the other side of what was decidedly not soundproof glass. So it was, we had to imagine that part, but seeing it, how it comes in with full sound design and the beat of the metronome and then the sound coming on and going off at the end is it's really cool. It's a really cool way to get a lot of information in and really set up kind of what happens in Act 2.
It's such a fantastic mix of all of this information and like, oh, what's gonna happen? This is probably not gonna end well for the hamster.
Yeah.
John still hasn't seen the movie, so if you
Yeah,
could,
I don't know. I
if you
don't
could
know
ultimately
what made the
do
final
not
cut.
tell
So
him. Do not tell him what happens.
I'm really excited.
No, John, you saved the day. The
I think I'm going to be in Baby
the
Driver
detective
2
fiction.
too. So I think I got a plan for that. Fireproof underwear, y'all.
I love the idea of all of these great actors on the set with each other at the same time, more or less. You know, so Cailee, when you guys were shooting kind of that big climactic end scene, behind the scenes, these are the stories that we all love. Like, what's kind of the deal in between takes with everybody? And theoretically, there's maybe some practical fire on the set?
Yes, for
Okay.
sure. It was all pretty
It
real.
was all real. The director does not like CGI fire.
It's hard to do, right?
Yeah, there's something about it that always looks false. And so at the time, a year ago, I was like, yes, it's all gonna be real fire. Then we're all sitting there on the day for 3 weeks, surrounded by real fire all the time. And I thought, this CGI fire may not have been a bad idea.
I'm kind of terrible, but I mean, that's one of my notes. Like, I was taking notes during the movie, which everybody loves, but I was like, in all caps, fire! So I was like, wow.
Yeah.
So, what was the set like when you're dealing with real life flames and then Chris Hemsworth insisting on dancing?
Yeah.
And it's 2 kinds of hot.
That
I wasn't even there.
No, being on set was such a dream, and I just tried to be a sponge and take everything in and just watch everybody. I mean, these guys have been doing it for so long. And
Right, like the bridge.
The bridge. Also, just seeing how he was on set, how he had the perfect mix of taking it seriously, knowing his homework, and knowing when we had to, get in the game, and then those times where we tried to shake off all the dark shit and have fun, and Cynthia would sing in between takes, and we'd all be giggling and laughing, and so it's so weird when you're on set for such a short amount of time doing such intense stuff, and you all become super close, and then you're like, see you later. But I mean, I'll always cherish those moments. And
It's kind of like summer camp.
yeah, it really is.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
weird, because even as a journalist, it's a similar...
Fewer
group-
ticks.
Fewer.
I will say that. Fewer ticks.
Touche, Ham. It's gonna keep going.
I just totally knocked you off your question. I'm sorry. You had it chambered and ready to go.
And sleeps with the wolf, Ronald Reagan. So,
They just spooned.
yeah, it
Just spooned.
it wasn't sexual,
That
it
was
wasn't
not weird.
non-sexual. It was, so yeah.
Perhaps a whole new meaning for trickle-down economics. Yeah, you're welcome. That was actually one of my favorite moments of the film, is in the car with Cynthia and the bridge. And so he was drugging her drink, she has assaulted him, and then he's like, hey, sorry. Like, I wasn't trying to do what you thought. And I thought that was very adult.
When I watch my own stuff, in hindsight, I realize I don't really like conflict. I like characters, even when they're trying to kill each other, be entirely reasonable with one another and just talk it through. It's never intentional, but when I watch that scene, I'm like, oh yeah, everyone's being reasonable. Similarly, in the Dakota Johnson, Lewis Pullman scene, with the wolf scene, he's like, please don't kill me. She's like, I might have to. He's like, yeah, I totally get it. And so, fine.
The reason didn't seem to work in my case, Drew. I was just about to reason with her.
Let's talk about those death scenes, because I always want to know, like, what was the process in getting killed in a controlled environment with special effects presided over by professionals? It seems super creepy regardless.
It's really creepy because obviously things can go wrong. Nothing did, fortunately, but things have. historically. So everybody is very aware that things can go wrong, and mostly it's not only do you have sort of explosives taped to yourself, but there's also sort of like winches and pulleys that exist to sort of jerk you back when you're getting shot. And so that's all got to be carefully calibrated to not like break your neck or wrench your shoulder or anything. So it's all dialed in, and as you say, everybody is very professional about it. But there is that thing where they're counting down and they're like, all right, now 3, 2, 1, and we're gonna do this. Okay. I hope I don't have a funny face and we don't have to do it again. Because I'm not sure what I'm doing. What face do you make when you get shot with a shotgun? So there's a little bit of guesswork in it too, in that sense, from an acting standpoint.